Nigel, obviously, your hotshot critics will say, now you are promising the earth once you become ZIFA president. You were part of the ZIFA board. Why did you not do all these things that you are now telling us you'll be able to do?
Okay, I have a very, very simple answer to that, Charles. If you look at how our board progressed, you will understand why a lot of these things didn't work. You know, within 6 months of being in office, some of the board members were already being suspended. It created a very negative atmosphere within the board. And by the time we come to the end of the term of our board, you know, we now have 40% of the board members that were elected in 2010 that didn't finish their terms. Now, that is not a healthy environment. There was so much acrimonious relationships within the board, such that focus was lost. Focus was no longer on the key things that drove the game of football. Add to that the fact that you didn't have a plan. So it became one of those, you know, village type of situations where I accuse you of this, you accuse me back, and so on. And we end up working against each other, not with each other. And one of the things I've said openly, our board failed. I will tell you that openly. We failed as a board. I don't believe I failed as an individual.
So why should we trust you now when you were part of... Okay, and we honor that admission of guilt, and we'll accept your fine here on Game Plan.
Yes.
But after you pay your fine, why should we trust you now to release you into the higher office of being president when you were a board member in charge of marketing, which again is a critical portfolio? Why should we trust you now?
Because of leadership. You know, the manner in which the board is structured was such that, you know, the leadership of the board was such that it did not encourage a collective process that enhanced decision making. A lot of decisions were either made or not made together, and as a result, you will find that a lot of things were frustrated. And you know, I will, you know, not hide this. One of the situations that I found very unfortunate was you had what I call an incestuous, you know, corporate relationship in the board. You know, 3 of the board members had a relationship in the sense that the president had 2 of the board members being his subordinates elsewhere. Now, there's no way that, you know, in a normal working, you know, well-governed, you know, institution, you can have a situation like that and work effectively. So you would find that a lot of things are discussed outside of the board. A lot of decisions are planned and made before you even come to the board. And you ended up with a board that was divided, it was split.
Surely, now, can I just come in? There's a saying that that goes like shape up or ship out. Surely, if you found that, you know, things were not done accordingly, the board was divided and so on, your critics will say, why did you not resign and talk about these things and then come back and fight for the ZIFA presidency?
I did contemplate that.
They will say,
yes.
Why did you not walk away there?
Because to me, it would have been an admission of failure, and as an individual, and I don't believe I would have failed. And I also felt that it would have made, that was what was expected. There were other people within the board that wanted that to happen. They would have been very happy to see some of us resign. But on just a question of principle, I wasn't going to force them, I wasn't going to allow them, rather, to force me to resign.
Nigel, about $1 million or thereabout of the money that you say is the debt, that is ZIFA, which they need to pay, is owed to the ZIFA president, and when people out there talk about the thing that has helped the national team with, I mean, they are bailing out the Warriors and so forth, and this has been converted into debt. So those people are now using that to say that at least Dube can come on board and bail the Warriors. And you, while you were a board member there, and this money was accumulating there, are you going to repay this money? Was this money taken on board level? What happened to this money?
Well, I think that the first thing I'd like to say is that money has never been a good substitute for good leadership. And I believe that that was the problem. Had we had proper leadership leading the board and the association, we would have avoided needing to be bailed out by an individual. Where else have you heard of an individual bailing out an institution? You know, I would have thought that with more prudent management approaches, we would have been able to manage the debt better. A very example is the technical partnership that any national team needs to have. We didn't have that for 4 years. We failed to engage a technical partner. And why? You know,